At just 25 years old, Ronald Ania Jr. has already achieved All-Star status and MVP honors, setting a milestone in baseball that has never been seen before. Despite his success, Ania has faced considerable controversy and criticism throughout his career. In just 6 seasons, he has been benched and publicly reprimanded by his manager, criticized for minor issues like wearing his hat and eye black incorrectly, and even faced accusations from a legendary player in his home country of Venezuela, who once called him a crybaby. His popularity in Venezuela has been polarizing, with some fans labeling him a traitor, booing him, and even attacking his family in the stands, which led to him briefly retiring from the sport. One notable incident involved a prominent baseball analyst who, in a display of frustration over Ania's dominance, claimed he would intentionally hit Ania if he were still pitching. This sentiment was not just talk, at least one team acted on it, drilling Ania 8 times in a single season. A pitcher even publicly challenged him to a fight, only to be thoroughly defeated by Ania, which further cemented his reputation across the baseball world. Ania's rise to fame began with his rookie season in 2018, where he was the youngest player in the league at just 20 years old. His journey to the major leagues was marked by numerous rejections. According to his uncle, the Royals initially showed interest but passed on him due to concerns about his shortstop skills. The Rangers considered him but deemed his swing too slow. The Rockies almost signed him but chose another prospect instead. The Nationals came close to a deal but found him too expensive. In hindsight, these decisions seem misguided. The Braves eventually signed Ania for only $100,000, a move that has proven to be one of the most astute investments in recent baseball history. While other players from his draft class secured multi-million-dollar deals, none have matched Ania's impact on the game. Ania's baseball pedigree runs deep, hailing from a small fishing village in Venezuela with a population of just 7,000 and only one baseball field. Growing up, he often played against adults who were family members. His grandfather and father both played minor league baseball in the 1970s. His extensive baseball family includes a cousin who pitched for the Giants, another who played for the Indians, a closer for the Blue Jays, and another pitcher for the Diamondbacks. His cousin Ali Escobar was with the Nationals last year, and Mel Garcia plays for the Royals. His brothers also have promising careers, with one being a top prospect for the Mets and another for the Twins. The youngest brother, only 12 years old, has reportedly agreed to a contract with the Phillies. This family is undeniably one of the most talented in baseball history. In a small, remote town in Venezuela, where baseball is a cherished pastime and the community boasts just one baseball field for its entire population, Ronald Ania Jr. emerged as a remarkable talent. Despite this field's reputation for producing exceptional players, Ania was initially overlooked. In 2017, he was ranked only the 17th best prospect within the Braves organization. However, his fortunes changed dramatically in 2018 when he became the second best prospect in baseball, just behind Shohei Ohtani. Ania was called up to the major leagues in April 2018, and his impact was immediate. After the All-Star break, he went on an incredible run of performances that captured the league's attention and sparked controversy. On August 11, Ania homered against the Brewers. The very next day, he homered again. On August 13, he led off both games of a doubleheader with home runs, becoming only the 4th player in MLB history to hit 2 leadoff home runs on the same day. Ania's remarkable streak continued. The day after this historic doubleheader, he led off the game with another home run, making him the youngest player ever to homer in 5 consecutive games. In that same game, he hit another home run in the 7th inning. Ania was on an extraordinary run, hitting 8 home runs in 8 games, and had homered in his last 5 games in a row. Additionally, he was just 1 leadoff home run shy of the record for consecutive games with a leadoff homer. At just 20 years old, Ania had become the centerpiece of MLB's narrative, with fans and analysts eagerly watching to see if he could break the record for consecutive leadoff home runs. The Marlins, however, were not pleased with Ania's dominance. On August 15, as the baseball world focused on his pursuit of history, Marlins pitcher Jose Urena threw a 97 mph fastball directly at Ania's elbow on the very first pitch of the game. This pitch was the fastest Urena had ever thrown to start a game and was clearly intentional, aimed at disrupting Ania's streak. The incident led to the bench's clearing, and Ania was forced to leave the game. This deliberate hit sparked a heated debate across the baseball community. Some argued that hitting Ania was a natural part of the game, while others, including Freddie Freeman, criticized Urania's actions as gutless. ESPN called for a 20-game suspension for Urania, and Rich Eisen suggested he should be banned for the rest of the season. Even Urania's own manager admitted that hitting Ania intentionally was unjustifiable. Conversely, Keith Hernandez defended the Marlins, suggesting that if he were pitching, he might have done the same. Despite the controversy, Ania's injury was not severe. Just 8 days later, he faced the Marlins again and seized his opportunity to retaliate. On his first at-bat, he hit another home run, celebrated with a bat flip, and ran around the bases with flair. Later in the game, when he came up to bat again, the Marlins hit him once more. Although this did not escalate into a full-blown altercation, it underscored the ongoing tension between Ania and the Marlins, highlighting the high stakes and intense emotions that surrounded his breakout season. The confrontation between Ronald Ania Jr. and the Marlins was far from over, especially as Ania's star power soared. His rookie season in 2018 was nothing short of spectacular. At just 20 years old, he not only won the Rookie of the Year award but also led the Braves, who were initially projected to finish fourth, to a division title and their first playoff appearance in 5 years. In Game 3 of the NL mantle was, further endearing him to fans despite the Braves' eventual elimination. As he entered 2019, Ania continued to impress on the field but also generated controversy with his demeanor. As a rookie, he wore his hat sideways to a press conference, sparking what was described as a firestorm within the Braves organization. The team insisted he wear his hat correctly, and Ania was reprimanded for admiring his first-ever Major League home run for too long. Additionally, there was criticism for a moment when he failed to hustle after hitting a ball he thought was a home run but turned into a single, resulting in his benching. These incidents contributed to his reputation as a cocky young player who didn't respect traditional baseball norms. This reputation put a target on his back, particularly with the Marlins. Nearly a year after being hit by Jose Urania, Ania faced him again. On a 3-2 count, Ania made Urania pay with a powerful hit, carrying his bat to first base and flipping it over his shoulder as he rounded the bases, a moment of sweet revenge. The Braves responded to the Marlins' earlier aggression by hitting Brian Anderson, which led to further tensions. Kevin Gausman was ejected for this retaliation, but the Marlins weren't finished. A few months later, when the teams met again, Urania hit Ania for the third time with the very first pitch of the game. Ania, visibly frustrated, took his base while his manager was ejected for his outburst, escalating the ongoing feud. Despite the friction, the Braves had high hopes for the postseason, relying heavily on Ania. In the playoffs, he delivered impressive performances, hitting .444, .818, with an OPS well over 1.000, making him the Braves' best defensive player. However, his postseason success was overshadowed by a critical mistake in Game 1. Ania hit a ball he thought was gone, and after admiring it, he failed to run out of the box immediately. By the time he realized it wasn't a home run, he had only managed a single, a misstep that drew significant attention amid his otherwise stellar performance. The tension between Ronald Ania Jr. and the Marlins reached a new level in 2020, following a contentious previous season. In the 2019 playoffs, Ania's spectacular performance was marred by a critical mistake in Game 1. After hitting a ball he believed was a home run, he admired it for too long and failed to hustle. This resulted in a single rather than a home run, and the Braves, failing to capitalize, blew a 3-1 lead and lost the game by just 1 run. Teammates like Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies criticized Ania, suggesting that his lack of hustle might have cost them the game. The New York Post even went as far as to claim he was helping to ruin baseball. The Braves lost the series in 5 games, and despite Ania finishing 5th in MVP voting at just 21, his supposed bad attitude and over-the-top celebrations overshadowed his accomplishments. By 2020, the target on Ania's back had only grown larger. The Marlins, who had been a last-place team in 2019, made a surprising turnaround and clinched a playoff spot. In September, when Ania faced Jose Urania again, the animosity flared up. Urania hit Ania, though it was unclear if it was intentional. This was the 4th time Ania had been hit by the Marlins, and his frustration was palpable. Despite the ongoing feud, Ania was determined to make a statement in the postseason. the Braves squared off against the Marlins in the divisional series. Ania, eager to prove himself after the previous year's missteps, was ready for the challenge. In his very first at-bat of the series, he crushed a home run and celebrated with a dramatic bat flip, a gesture that added fuel to the fire of the existing rivalry. The Marlins, having emerged from a last-place finish to become a formidable playoff contender, were now facing a determined Ania and his Braves in a high-stakes series. The intensity of the matchup was heightened by the backstory of their previous encounters. The Marlins pitcher's retaliation and Ania's fierce responses had built up a charged atmosphere. As the series progressed, every at-bat by Ania was scrutinized, and each pitch from the Marlins was analyzed for potential hostility. The bad blood between the two teams made the games even more compelling. Meanwhile, the drama surrounding Ania had made him a household name across baseball, but it also cast a shadow over his achievements. While he continued to display incredible talent and potential, the media and fans were often more focused on his confrontations and perceived attitude rather than his on-field performance. In the 2020 postseason, Ania's performance was crucial for the Braves. Despite the mounting pressure and ongoing rivalry with the Marlins, he managed to shine brightly. His ability to rise above the controversy and deliver in high-pressure situations was a testament to his skill and resilience. The Marlins-Braves feud and Ania's personal battles had become a defining part of his career narrative. Even as he faced criticism and conflict, Ania's talent and determination ensured that he remained one of the most talked-about players in baseball. The ongoing rivalry between Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Miami Marlins added another dramatic chapter during a game in which Acuna was once again hit by a pitch. This incident, while likely accidental, left Acuna visibly upset. He reminded the Marlins bench that this was the fifth time he had been hit by one of their pitches. After the game, Marlins pitcher Sandy Alcantara made a bold statement, challenging Acuna with the words, "If he's ready to fight, I'm ready to fight too." Acuna responded with characteristic bravado, taking to Instagram to post a picture of his bat flip with the caption, "I'd like this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody." He also tweeted, "They have to hit me because they don't get me out." At that point, Acuna had been hit by pitches once every 40 at-bats against the Marlins, compared to once every 80 at-bats against other teams. During this period, Acuna was exceptional, hitting an astonishing 17 home runs against the Marlins alone and maintaining a slugging percentage over .600. The Braves, as a team, dominated with a 46-21 record, outscoring the Marlins by 124 runs. In their playoff series, the Braves swept the Marlins effortlessly. Despite this clear superiority, the tension between Acuna and the Marlins was far from resolved. The following year, the Marlins hit Acuna for the sixth time, and for the third time, it occurred on the very first pitch of the game. Marlins pitcher Pablo Lopez was ejected for this, and Acuna seized the opportunity for revenge. 2 days later, he blasted a home run against the Marlins, his 23rd of the season, which led the Braves. Acuna also led the team in runs, stolen bases, and nearly every other offensive category. He was second in the league in wins above replacement, WAR, and was named Player of the Month in April. His athleticism was on full display as he made headlines for an impressive throw that landed a ball into a fan's cup, and he even beat out a ground ball hit at 108 miles per hour with a sprint speed of 31 feet per second. At just 22 years old, Acuna was a rising star and was favored to win the MVP. However, his season took a heartbreaking turn when he suffered a torn ACL. The injury occurred while attempting to field a ball hit by Jazz Chisholm. Acuna landed awkwardly on the warning track and was visibly distraught as he was carted off the field. According to his mother, Acuna cried daily after the injury, convinced that he would never regain his previous speed or skill. He sought therapy to help cope with the emotional and psychological impact of the injury. Despite his absence, the Braves achieved one of the most remarkable World Series victories in recent history. Acuna's return was anticipated for the 2022 season, but his recovery was hindered. Just before the season began, the Braves lost another key figure, Freddie Freeman, who signed with the Dodgers. During an Instagram Live interview conducted in Spanish, Acuna was asked about Freeman's departure. His response, translated and posted on Twitter, included comments that he wouldn't miss Freeman and that Freeman had been overbearing and caused friction within the team. This added another layer to the evolving narrative of Acuña's career and the dynamics within the Braves organization. The situation between Ronald Acuña Jr. and Freddie Freeman took a contentious turn after Freeman's departure from the Braves. During an Instagram Live interview, Acuña was asked about Freeman, and his response, which was translated and widely circulated, implied that Freeman had been difficult to deal with. Acuña claimed that Freeman and other veterans had criticized his use of eye black and prevented him from wearing sunglasses on his hat to avoid blocking the Braves logo. Freeman addressed these comments by expressing his affection for Acuña and attributing the issues to organizational rules, asserting there was no personal tension. Acuña, however, did not backtrack on his comments, stating he had no regrets about what he said, given Freeman's new team affiliation. The feud between Acuña and Freeman quickly became a hot topic, adding to the drama surrounding Acuña. Acuña missed the first month of the 2022 season due to knee rehab, and upon his return, he struggled. He was not as fast, stopped stealing bases, and was seen limping during games. His offensive numbers declined significantly, resulting in the worst season of his career. During the playoffs, he faced more criticism after failing to back up his center fielder, which contributed to JT Realmuto hitting an inside-the-park home run. The Phillies went on to embarrass the Braves, ending their season and marking one of Acuña's least productive years. In the offseason, Acuña returned to Venezuela, where he had grown up playing baseball on sandlot fields. To aid his recovery and improve his form, the Braves permitted him to play for his hometown team, the Tiburones de La Guaira, in the Venezuelan Winter League. It was unusual for a star player like Acuña to participate in such a league, but he initially received a warm welcome and impressed fans by hitting numerous home runs. However, controversy erupted in January when Acuña announced he would not participate in the World Baseball Classic. He cited advice from his doctors and training staff, who deemed it detrimental to his recovery. This decision caused an uproar in Venezuela, with reports suggesting that the Braves had not explicitly barred Acuña from playing. Team captain Miguel Cabrera hinted that it might have been Acuña's choice not to play, while former major leaguer Alex Gonzalez suggested that Acuña's reluctance stemmed from an inability to handle the pressure. The backlash from Venezuelan fans was intense. During his next game in the Winter League, Acuña faced boos from the crowd. In response, he hit a home run and celebrated with an exuberant display of joy, including taunting and a prolonged home run celebration. This celebration further fueled the animosity, leading to confrontations between Acuña's family and opposing fans, which escalated into a fight. The scene highlighted the ongoing tension and controversy surrounding Acuña as he navigated the challenges of recovery and public perception. The drama between Ronald Acuña Jr. and the Venezuelan baseball community intensified when Acuña announced his retirement from Venezuelan baseball and deleted his Instagram account. This decision only fueled the controversy. Miguel Cabrera commented, "It's good Acuña didn't play in our day, he probably would have cried." Former major leaguer Alex Gonzalez took to Instagram Live to criticize Acuña further, prompting Acuña to respond by taunting Gonzalez about his post-baseball life, remarking that Gonzalez's career numbers were unimpressive and that he was forgotten in Venezuela. Acuña's father also joined the fray, reportedly making threats and belittling Gonzalez. Amidst these personal attacks, Acuña voiced his frustrations on Instagram, claiming that some players had been allowed to participate in the World Baseball Classic, WBC, while others, like him, had been denied. He argued that according to the rules, teams could not prevent players from participating in international events if they had spent less than 60 days on the injured list the previous season. This implied that the Braves were not permitted to bar him from the WBC. While some blamed the Braves for allegedly breaching this rule, others speculated that Acuña had fabricated the blame to deflect anger from Venezuelan fans, suggesting it was actually his decision not to play. Reports even surfaced that Acuña was so disillusioned with the Braves over this issue that he was requesting a trade. The situation saw him at odds with Venezuelan fans, Braves supporters, and the Braves organization itself. Despite these turbulent times, it was later revealed that the trade request was unfounded. Whether it was a fabrication or a change of heart, Acuña did end up representing Venezuela in the WBC. He and Miguel Cabrera seemed to mend their relationship, and Acuña returned to the 2023 season with renewed vigor. He was completely healthy and had one of the most remarkable seasons in baseball history. In April, he was named Player of the Month, and by June, he matched his career high in stolen bases. Acuna made history by becoming the first player ever to hit 20 home runs and steal 40 bases before the All-Star break. His relentless performance continued throughout the season. In a memorable play, when the Diamondbacks failed to cover third base, Acuna took a massive lead. Pitcher Kevin Gausman attempted to intimidate him by walking him back to the base and exchanging words. Acuna, ever the competitor, refused to get back on the base, leading Gausman to throw a wild pitch that allowed Acuna to score. The incident showcased his psychological edge and base-running prowess. Acuna led the league in All-Star voting and found himself in a heated MVP race with Mookie Betts. In August, during one of the season's most anticipated series, Acuna achieved a significant personal milestone. Just hours before the game, he married his longtime girlfriend in a small ceremony in Los Angeles. Later that day, Acuna hit a grand slam and became the first player to reach 30 home runs and 60 stolen bases in a single season. As his former teammate Freddie Freeman looked on, Acuna dominated the series, eventually surpassing Betts in the MVP race. The buzz around Acuna reached such a peak that during one game, a fan ran onto the field attempting to take a selfie with him. Although Acuna was happy to oblige, security intervened. In the chaos, another fan joined in, and as security tried to remove them, they accidentally knocked Acuna to the ground. Despite this, Acuna still attempted to take a selfie with one of the fans before they were both escorted away. Acuna's spectacular season continued with him stealing his 61st base and hitting the hardest home run of the year, recorded at 121.1 miles per hour off the bat. His arm strength was also on display with a throw clocked at 104 miles per hour. Most impressively, Acuna achieved milestones that no other player had ever reached. He became the fourth player in history to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases in a season, then the first to achieve 40 home runs and 50 steals, and finally the first ever to reach 40 home runs and 60 steals in a season. He concluded the year as the only player in Major League history with 40 home runs and 70 steals in a season, and in November, he was unanimously voted the NL MVP. In celebration, Acuna returned to Venezuela, where he played in a Winter League game. This time, the Venezuelan fans, who had previously been hostile, embraced him enthusiastically. After hitting a home run, Acuna celebrated around the bases with the crowd, marking a triumphant return to his roots and showing that he had redeemed himself in the eyes of his home country.